I'm starting a new life, turn wrongs into right. This is the Being Beloved podcast.
Greetings and thank you for joining us for the Being Beloved podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Rolanda Spencer.
On this episode of Being Beloved, we speak to Najah Beckett, whose search for love turned out to be years of abuse. Now, as a survivor and young mother of a beautiful girl, she finds purpose in crafting a life for herself and her daughter that is nurturing, healthy, and full of genuine love.
So we welcome Najah today, and let's just start with you telling us your story.
Okay, so I'm Najah, I'm 27, I'm a single mom of a 2-year-old. I've been out of incarceration since 2017. I caught my first case 2016. Mostly traumatizing backgrounds lead to incarceration with a lot of women in the U.S., black women at that. So to be sitting here 2023 and not in no trouble, it's kind of different for me, but I can get into further details on how I caught my case and the things I was doing around that time frame and how I went from that point on to a clear mind state. So around that time, I was just starting to experience college, and being though I was young, I had to still have my parents for my financial aid. The type of mother I have, she's an addict. She had addiction, just money hungry. And most of the times, anything positive I had in good in my life, she wouldn't support it. Like, she wouldn't sign my financial aid papers. So being discouraged of not getting the opportunity to expand my education and my vocabulary, anything. So that led to being on the streets. Growing up, I came from a good family, but being as though she had her addiction, I was the only one that experienced cooking at 7 years old and babysitting everyone's children, and me not having a jacket while the other kids have jackets, you know what I'm saying? So I got tired of it. I got tired of getting laughed at. It's 13 degrees outside and I'm outside with a jean jacket on. So got tired of, doing that, so I got introduced to a guy, and we ended up being in Center City, Philadelphia. The population for homelessness and drugs operation down there is it's crazy.
Can you describe Center City?
Center City is where a lot of people go that are homeless or that are in need to make fast cash. What I mean by that will be necessarily you can sell your clothes, drugs, or most women, body parts.
Okay.
So
You met this guy and you went there?
yeah, we went down there. I was selling drugs, K2 and cocaine.
Were you doing any of that before you met him?
No, I was so busy about working in school.
So what about meeting him changed your mind about, getting into that part of the life?
Seeing how fast he was able to get things that I always wanted. I think that's what it was. And him at that time showing me that I thought was love. Being there every day with me and telling me how pretty I am. And, so I believed everything that he was saying because I wasn't getting that love growing up.
And did you know much about Philly or this area before you came here?
Not Center City.
Center City, was it what you imagined?
It's a whole different world down there. It gets scary when you don't, have no one to guide you through it down there. Like, you got perverts out there, you got people that'll rob you for just not knowing who you are, or just because they feel like you got more, or because everyone goes to you. You might have a certain type of charisma about you down there, and they will not like that. Like, for 4 months straight, the person I was dealing with made sure no one knew my name. They was all just calling me, hey, this is such and such girl. Hey, such and such girl. They didn't even know my name.
Was that a form of protection for you?
Yeah.
Okay. So, oh, so, so you get there, you go to Center City. It's not what you imagined, right? But you have your mate. How was that relationship in terms of how he treated you, and what was it about it that attracted you to it?
Number one, I think because I'm real big on vocabulary, people, how they explain their words and stuff. So the way he explained a lot of things to me and just admired my beauty, that was a plus for me, because I was always taught growing up that I wasn't this and I didn't look like that, you know. So hearing it from a male, you know, getting the attention that I always wanted. So it went from that, and him just was like, you know, what are you doing? And you know, that night, like I said, he caught me on a vulnerable night, because, you know, I was discouraged about having to drop out of college. And I think that he used that to his full ability, like, you know, I'm going to show her I can be there for her. And he was doing things like that and paying my phone bill. I was staying at a hotel at the time. He paid a hotel up for a week. I had jackets, shoes, everything. Then 3 months in, here comes the domestic violence.
Was he older?
He's older than me by 3 more years.
Okay. And so you say, here comes the domestic violence. So the very first time you experienced it with him, what were your thoughts?
I was confused, because it just was like, hey, 2 months for a row, this is the guy I'm like thinking I'm going to marry. You know what I'm saying? So to...
Uh-oh, she gave you a thumbs up. You did a good job, guys. She gave you a Okay. Okay. So this, your first experience, you're shocked.
Yeah.
Okay.
The domestic violence, it shocked me, because I didn't expect him to like react to the situation like that, but also being stuff, me not having that love. So in my head, I'm like, oh, if he didn't care about me, he wouldn't get so mad and he wouldn't hit me. You know, people who don't care wouldn't get so mad. That's the type of young mind that I had then.
That's a very prominent thought amongst young ladies. Mm-hmm. Where did that thought come from? Why did you think that?
I honestly can't really tell you, because just by him being there for me and doing the things that he did, I think the manipulation of him doing all that, that's what made me think that he cared. You know what I'm saying? So when he did hit me, I'm like, oh, well, any other guy just gonna go ahead and walk off. Maybe I'm doing something. Maybe it's me. Maybe I need to. Everything was just so, I didn't want to lose that little bit of love that he was given, that I thought that was love. So
tell me about the part that you thought was love.
Being secured at night, being warm, being fed, that was the part that I felt like, because I wasn't, you know what I'm saying, getting the proper rest that I needed, or I didn't have the proper materials to go outside.
You were talking about how, or I was asking you, what about it felt loving to you?
Yeah, because my own mother didn't buy me a jacket. So for him to go out your day and be like, hey, let me go get Najah 3 jackets. And that was a lot for me, because I met him with a jean jacket on. Now I got different type of designer jackets that I never even had in my life. So that right there showed me you cared, because, as you know, I didn't have a jacket. I didn't have nothing.
So it was the security
Yeah.
that you felt and being taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about it now? Do you still see it as love?
No, I wish I was more so smart in this situation. Like, I could have got what I wanted out of him without getting abused, you know? And, you know, I could have never really, after the first time he hit me, I could have left. I stayed.
How long did you stay?
I stayed for 2 years.
2 years after that? Mm-hmm. Did the abuse get worse?
Yeah, nothing but worse.
More consistent?
More consistent. I'm talking about meaning a guy can ask me, hey, do you know where such and such at? Do you know I'm not from here? I'm like, oh yeah, the directions is this and that. He'll pop up behind, hey, what's your name? My name is this. You know her? And you'll just be looking like, we wasn't doing anything.
So it wasn't just physical.
Yeah.
It was all of it.
All of it, everything.
Okay.
Because, like I said, no one was allowed to talk to me or anything like that. So the guy, came up, Bojack, that's what his name, he came up and he wanted to smoke with me. And I'm like, hey, Craig said, can't nobody talk to me right now, can't smoke with nobody. So
You told another person that you couldn't talk to them because, okay.
He just didn't want me to talk to anyone, period. It wasn't just him, it was everyone in total. He did not like that. He like, well, F you this and F that, going on to him disrespecting me. You know what I'm saying? So when Craze comes up and he hears all the commotion, now, yeah, it gets real physical, real fast. So he gets upset that Craze is getting, the win, and he takes out his screwdriver and decides to stab me.
Your boyfriend?
No,
No, the other guy.
The other guy. And that's how...
Because he was losing the fight.
Najah represents thousands of women who experienced ongoing domestic violence or intimate partner violence before and after incarceration. A report by the Prison Policy Initiative says that women are more likely to enter prison with a history of abuse, trauma, and issues with mental health.
That's why I said, like, being downtown was so different. Like, I was always taught, like, never the men and children. It didn't matter down there. You had people bringing their children down there while there was drugs around. Every day was something new. Every day was a turn up. Drinking, drugs, just everything. Loud speakers down there. You have people that didn't have time to go to the shelter or didn't get accepted into the shelter, or the shelter didn't have enough beds. So we're underground, under tunnels. Hand warmers, blankets they was giving out, they're coming out.
You were living in the tunnels?
The subway tunnels?
So explain
Underground.
to me how that works.
Well, see, where the regional rail runs at, it's tunnels under, like Philly's built on a whole nother city.
Right.
So when you're going underneath the tunnels, it's a whole nother world underneath the tunnels.
Really?
Yeah, people got tents, couches, lights out there. It looks like something you'll see in a movie. That's why I say experience this in Philly and never having to pay for toiletries, food, clothes. They're bringing out brand new designer items. You had a person that comes out there give out money. You have this guy who comes to the Parkway that gives you ID and everything that you needed. All the resources and access that you needed was all in Center City, the hub of hope. Everything you needed. You could take showers there. And it was no reason for people to feel like they needed to get themselves together.
So it's like a community, though. So
It was like, yeah,
but it was dangerous.
dangerous.
Okay. So before you had this altercation, had you ever been to prison before?
No, juvenile days, but it wasn't like nothing serious as this, like, curfew van,
Right. Okay, so you have this fight, right? What happened to your boyfriend? Did he go to prison?
Yes, he went to prison as well. October 27th was the third preliminary hearing. I told the judge that I was the one who initiated the stabbing
Why'd you do that?
because I was feeling bad because I heard that Bojack was in the hospital. And I didn't want him to die. And I didn't want him to get in trouble for something that I didn't do. He didn't stab that man. Even though he was fighting him, he didn't stab that man over 10 plus times. I did. So once I let the judge know that, the judge let him go. And I stayed, and this was about October. I didn't get out until March. But I was already in there for some time, so.
Historian Kali Gross wrote that in 2011, an estimated 1 million women were either incarcerated or in some way ensconced in the justice system. In those numbers, between 85% and 90% of those women reported a history of domestic violence and sexual violence. This alarming statistic is extreme when compared to the national average of women experiencing intimate partner violence, which is 22.3%. Now, when race is applied, 68% of incarcerated Black women had been victimized by intimate partner violence. Plus, when compared to white women, Black women are twice as likely to be killed by a spouse.
I noticed that a lot of women, when they're in these abusive situations like that, they still try to protect their abuser. And you did that. How do you feel about that now? Do you think you made the right decision?
If I didn't, it could have been worse. I could have, like I said, I'm out of Chester, I'm in Center City, something else was bound to happen. So I'm grateful that I did get my head on my shoulders, because I want to be able to meet the people that I met to let me know my worth, to let me know that I'm beautiful, to let me know that it's someone who cares about you, you know. So I kind of think it's a win-lose situation for me, because I have this record, but I also have these amazing women in my life as well.
Well, what happened to your boyfriend once you were incarcerated? Did you ever hear from him again?
After 2 months, once he got out, I didn't hear from him anymore.
Ever?
Until I met my daughter's father. He pops up back down.
Spidey senses, right?
Yeah, like she's talking to somebody. Let me get down there.
Right.
So, yeah. Once I met, because my other father is younger than me. You talking to a younger person, so he did not like that. So the last time I seen him probably was like 4 years ago.
So you come home. What is your, well, let's talk about your experience inside.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that long, but any day is too long, right, when you're incarcerated. So tell me about your experience. How did you feel about the decision you had made once you went in?
The decision was different for me. I never seen adults treat other adults like that get, first of all, I just feel as though you sign up, you go to this job process, you don't have to treat everyone like they're a criminal. Going through the process, there was some days I didn't eat, got pepper spray, got my numbers on my list switched around. Yeah, just by y'all all sit together, I don't like her. It was a lot going on. It was a lot with the gay guards who are gay or lesbian, and it was a lot going on. I think I was so upset once I finally sat down and did my time to see how the woman was actually getting treated. The men with COs was no better.
So let's talk about the COs and their interactions, because I think in our interviews you're the first one who mentioned the COs at all. So how did you? Let's talk about, because you mentioned the gay and lesbian COs first. So what was that experience?
It was weird, because it's like, what can they offer you? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then when you were, buzzing them out the cell to go into the little closet, now when you're coming in and that this girl talks to this girl on the block, now you're making their life in jail even more miserable than it is, won't buzz them out for showers. Like, it's been times I was sat in my cell for 3 days, didn't get buzzed out because another CO didn't like who I was around, because that person was in a relationship with someone she wanted to be in a relationship with.
Do the women COs tend to get into a lot of relationships?
Oh yeah. Yeah, my cousin, her ex-girlfriend before the one she's dealing with now, she was a CO on State Road for 17 years. You lost your job that you had for 17 years over a female that you met 2 years ago?
Yeah, we hear that happen with men quite a bit, but we don't hear it about women.
Oh.
So this, you said it was your cousin's girlfriend who did it?
Yes. She was a CO. I had ended up going to the hole, okay, a consolidary for 30 days for a tattoo. In the midst of me scrolling my bags past the captain office, he says, "Miss Beckett, come here." I said, "Yes." He said, "Tiffany Collins, your cousin?" I said, yes. He said, are you aware about her and McLean relationship? I said, huh? He said, you heard what I said the first time, or do I need to do 90 days on your... Oh, I said, you said McLean, oh, I don't know what's going on with none of that. I'm just coming out the hole because of my tattoo situation. Right. He said, well, I was told by another CEO that you're always buzzed out with Collins. I'm looking like, I can't tell you nothing. Well, he sent me right back. I did 90 days in the hole because my cousin was talking to a CEO and I did not want to admit.
Being Beloved podcast was made possible by a grant from the Valentine Foundation and also sponsored by Love Now Media.
I've been working in reentry for a long time, but I had always seen that, but nobody outside talks about it.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
I hear about it, right?
You told me that multiple times.
Yeah, but nobody else has.
Because they were one of the ones that needed, you know, for that, that's even 100. That's even 100. The ones who gonna want the cigarettes, the ones that's gonna want the weed, that's gonna want the little drugs they bring in. I had a CEO who was bringing in his pills. He was working there for 5 years. He gets caught, he goes to DC, going to DC to that's another jail on State Road. All the drugs in his pant leg fall down.
Stupid criminal.
So guess what they do? Oh, they get the cops, process him, and now he's on State Road. People were pregnant by COs. They don't want to mention that. I remember someone coming in with me. I'm taking out my hair because you know you can't have weave and all that. She's talking about why she's in here. And she's like, well, why are you in here? I said, I don't know. They said I did some night though. 4 months in, she's getting buzzed out between the 11 and 7 shift. That's only, you know, people really don't come out for that shift unless you clean, but no one stays out for that long. You're out for the whole 11 to 7 shift, and then everyone buzzing for the council, and no one see no CO there. Where did y'all two go? Then it finds out she was pregnant. He ended up getting fired, and she ended up beating her case and ended up going home, though.
Really? So do you find that women who are not initially considered homosexual become that?
Yeah.
In prison?
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of women who's even 100% Muslim.
Oh.
Yeah. You got the ones that's Muslim couples. And there's stuff that you'll never think you'll see. 2 Muslim women holding hands with their shaylas on, with their kimars on, kissing. Like, you just be like, yeah, that type of stuff. You got the ones that are taking their trans hormone pills, and now they're getting muscular. Now they got the chest, you know, but they got the beard and they're click enlarging. So now they think they're a man because they have about a 3 to 4 inch little thing going on down there. So it's a lot, yeah.
So while you're in there, tell me what you're thinking, how you're feeling about now this is where you're going to be for.
I thought that I should keep my hands to myself for a while. It was funny some days when you was in the mood, but once you realize while you there and that what's going on, it's not no place to be, especially not for no woman, especially.
Okay. How did the men behave in prison, the men COs?
We were always bees, holes, or some of them like to bring up your charges and say it, and you know they're not supposed to do that. Right. Or some of them like to bring up your bail, and some of them people will be there for like a 5-10 bail, and that's considered cheap, and some people not able to pay that. So, your bail only 5-10 and you're still sitting there. I'd have been out of, stuff like that, putting their self-esteem even more lower to the ground. Our self-esteem already lost once we get in here, and they strip us from our rights, our looks, everything. We can't have nothing, not lip gloss, nothing. Nothing to make you even feel a little bit okay.
So were you able to build any type of reasonable relationships in there?
I'll say about 80% of the friends I am friends with today are from jail.
Okay, and you were able to when you came out, you were able to interact with them. It wasn't against your probation or anything. And you're on parole, not probation.
I am on county probation and county parole.
Okay. How long are you on pay?
One of them I get off in April,
Okay.
and the other one I have next year.
Next year. Okay. Are there any sanctions against you while you're in there? Can you still just move regular? Or can you leave the state?
No, I can't leave the state. I am a flight risk. I cannot leave the state. They think if I leave the state, I ain't gonna come back.
If you left the state, would you come back?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm being honest. No. What I'm coming back for, to be on probation. Y'all tripping. I'm old.
Okay, fair enough. So now you've done your time. You're about to go home. What are you thinking? Well, tell us about the day when you found out that you would be able to come home.
When I found out, my lawyer came to see me on a Sunday, and my foot was itching that whole morning before he got there. Now, my grandma, like I said, she's Southern, they're Haitian. From what we're learning, anytime your foot itching or that hand itching, you walking on some new grounds or some money coming to you. So I was like, well, my foot itching, been itching all day. Then my lawyer come, he said, Miss Beckett, they offered you a deal. Okay. What is it? Is it some? Do I get to go home Tuesday? If I can get to go home Tuesday, give it to me. Right. I didn't even care how much probation it was, nothing. I just wanted to go home.
Okay, so would you be able to, so how soon, did you go home that Tuesday?
That Tuesday.
Okay.
That Tuesday.
Okay. And what kind of preparation did they give you for going home?
To not leave Philadelphia, do not enter Chester, stay away from knives, and to stay away from Center City because he knew about the previous history that I had down there.
Were you considering going back to Center City?
I did go.
Oh, you did anyway?
That Wednesday.
Okay. You went that very next
That Wednesday, I needed a jacket. By the time I came home, I was in a 1X. I couldn't fit them mediums and them larges no more. So baby girl needed a jacket.
We're talking about your transition home. You went back to Center City the next day. Why did you make that decision? Well, you said you needed a coat.
Yeah, and I ain't gonna lie, I wanted everybody to see I was back.
Okay.
I did, and I was looking for him because I wanted to know, where did you go? Okay. You know, I took the case or whatever, but it was initially y'all fight. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. So you couldn't check up on me. That's how I felt.
Did you find him?
Yeah.
And what?
He was with someone else.
And how did you feel about yourself?
It made me feel like, I really just felt like really stupid. I'm not gonna lie. I felt stupid, hurt. And if I had a weapon, I probably would have used it. That's how bad it stung to see that. Like you just, forget her. Was hugged up with someone else like I didn't even exist.
When a formerly incarcerated woman returns back to her community, the journey of reacclimatizing has very unique obstacles. One of the economic challenges many face is that they are more likely to be abandoned by family and friends while detained than men. As a result, one's financial support completely vanishes. Consequently, this forces many women to start their lives from scratch and in a community that in many ways has rejected them. Therefore, coming home and meeting the parole or probation mandates like finding a job, paying restitution, locating adequate housing, or reuniting with children become more difficult in general for women than for men.
So when you were inside and you thought about him, did you think you guys were going to be back together when you came home?
Yeah, because like I said, I had my way in there, so I had my connections of talking to him and able to, get messages back and forth from prison to prison, because you're not allowed to send letter to letter unless you do this old, scratch off the letter, the address that's on the envelope that already comes, like that.
Okay. So you come home, you find out that he's with somebody else. Then what do you do? Did you intend to stay there with him?
What I actually know was so crazy, I ended up leaving. I went back to Chester and I cried my eyes out. And then, so the next thing I'm like, man, forget it. I'm just going to go ahead, sign up for school, do something to make me forget about him. And I ended up did it. It worked. It worked, but then here comes trouble again my way. I meet a new guy. You know, I meet Nyla's father, and that was the worst relationship I ever had.
It was worse than the first?
That was my first time meeting a narcissist.
And how did you come to find that he was a narcissist?
Because the narcissists, they will you in, you know, play the good guy, and then they'll slowly, not all in one thing they'll just wrap above, like showing what they really are, you know, having the sharing locations. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe he just wanted to make sure I was safe, something was happening, and now you want the passcode to my phone. Oh, okay. Now you want me in the house at 11 o'clock. Oh, okay. It was just like slowly unraveling, and it was like he isolated me from my family just to have him to, like, you know, to have me to himself. It worked. Because, like I said, I'm a person that's not embarrassed to explain what I've been through. I can tell you in a heartbeat. Me, doesn't make me, break me. I'm going to let you know what I've been through, have an experience I have not, I understand, or I don't understand. So I think that's where he got the kickoff chill of, you know, with that, knowing that I wasn't so family close, you know, and being as though my brother had passed away, being in the time when I first met him. So it was a lot.
How did you meet him?
He was actually coming from work. He quit his job to start hanging downtown.
Downtown Chester or?
Center City.
So you went back when somebody...
Because I had to get through there, you know, so I was living at to get through, you know, to go to Girard. So.
Met him that way. Okay. So now you find yourself back in a situation similar to what, but you're saying it's worse. Mm-hmm. How is it worse?
I had a pretty smile, beautiful teeth, just like my daughter, straight rolls. He fractured this bone right here. This bone is one of the hardest, but also takes the longest to heal. Don't know when it cracks this bone right here. So you got to be hit pretty hard. These 4 teeth right here, these 2 was pushed over, these were pushed down. They had to separate these and push these back up. And that's why this was the worst, because anyone who knew me, they knew me by my smile. So I had to wait for my gums to harden up to, like, I get little swollen little things on my lip because of the missing teeth that's in here, the cracked teeth and stuff, the stuff that shifted while the gums are trying to harden. And I gotta wait until all the way April to even get the teeth out to get in my new teeth, because if they would have did it while the gums are still, nothing would have stayed in.
How long ago was this?
It's been, my mouth been like this for 2 years. And it takes forever to heal. Like, I can't, that apple will look so good. I want to bite the apple so bad. I ain't bite no apple in years. Corn.
So, how did you, so I'm assuming you're not still with him. So how did you find the strength to leave that situation?
Her. Some days, I ain't gonna lie, I really cry because how far I got, and if it wasn't for Nyla, like, everything I stopped doing. I don't even go out. Like, I used to be out with my friends, we go to a bar every weekend, the whole weekend. I don't do that. I go out once in a blue moon, might have a little wine in my house. Other than that, you won't catch me out here. And now when you say something to me, you gotta, like, literally get a little bit physical with me for me to even react. I don't even waste my time no more. Like, some people don't even believe or not used to me not reacting. They were so used to me being hyperactive. Or let's call Najah, she down to go. Or let's call Najah, all for the bad things. Ain't no one called me and be like, hey, Najah, want to sign up for school? Hey, Najah, this job is going. No one did none of that. So me realizing that and knowing that I didn't have the support with her, I knew I had to get myself together because I didn't want her ended up like me. Doing the things I was doing and running into the men that I was running into, I want her to know that she's beautiful every day. She knows that, and that's why she fluently how she is, because she knows. So, yeah, I think my daughter, she saved me a lot. I was either going to be dead or back in jail.
So how did you get through the pregnancy? Were you alone?
Yeah, if it wasn't for my aunt getting Alzheimer's, me having a strict schedule every day, me taking care of her being, before she passed away, I took care of her all the way up until her death. Got hired into the company. I worked with her all the way. Actually went into labor while trying to flip and change the bed setting. So yeah, definitely my daughter. She's definitely the one.
So tell me about then your delivery and seeing her for the first time. How becoming a mother, seeing it.
I totally didn't understand what my mom was talking about. I totally didn't. Like, her love for us are different. Like, she didn't hug us or tell us she loved us and stuff like that. She was very different. Me with her, I'm like, how can she not want this? Like, this is awesome, having a little mini me. She crossing her legs. She's learning everything, how smart she is. It's because of me. And seeing my work ethic in my face, I'm like, so like seeing that is good. Like I feel good to get up and I ain't gotta keep looking over my shoulder because I know I just did this to do this to get this money. Right. It feels good to wake up and know that, all right, we good, we secured. I got these people around me. It feels good. It's a whole different. I wake up differently today than I did 3 years ago.
Okay, and so now, how is your identity different from, let's say, before you ever met one of these guys? How did you see yourself then?
I thought I was going to be a pediatrician at one point in life. I thought myself just working and having an office and doing big things, helping women and children. And once I got to a little attention, I ran with it. I snatched it and forgot about my main goals and everything that I wanted to do. I was so stuck on feeling that love that I wanted from my family that I wasn't receiving.
And how do you see yourself today?
On my birthday, December 15, 2022, I came to a realization that, hey, you've been up Philly by yourself for quite some time, and every time a situation go down, you have yourself. It's okay to love your family from a distance. It's okay to not be around them. It's okay of being alone. You know what I'm saying? Because look where alone got you. Being out of trouble. You're not getting IFK2. You're not out here stabbing people. You're not out here fighting. You're doing everything legit. And you got a beautiful daughter. So it was a plus for that.
Being Beloved podcast was made possible by a grant from the Valentine Foundation and also sponsored by Love Now Media.
Okay, so now we're going to go into your introduction to I'm Free and your experiences there. So,
and what's so crazy? I wasn't going to sign up for them, but it was another group session that was like 2 doors down, but by me seeing how they came in dressed, the dreads and everything with the wraps, I'm like, well, these people look peaceful. So as I'm going into the groups every Tuesday that we went, all the sessions, all the topics were all someone could relate, someone been through it, someone who got through it and already now this is just like a, listening ear for them, but teaching us how did they get through that.
Was this while you were inside?
Inside.
Okay.
They coming in, they made us feel like that's what I'm saying. They supported us. They'll come to your court dates. Mm-hmm. Everything that they said they'll do in there, everything they said that will at least happen to us, we'll at least have a sober mind, or at least have some type of a better thinking mind.
Right.
And they meant all that.
Who did you meet first?
Both of them, Dr. Renee and Regina. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And so you saw them, and you said that they seemed peaceful.
Yeah.
As opposed to what when you saw other groups?
Other groups was just like woman in charge. I didn't like how they all came in. They came in loud and obnoxious and not really just so, I don't know, they came in humble. You just felt their energy without them saying anything. And that was different for me. War wanted you to know that they was there. That lady, she wanted to, switch her little, she wasn't really, I feel like half of them groups wasn't for the people. They was just for, how many people can they get to sign up so they can get a raise or seem like they're doing something?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so how long was the program inside?
Was it 3 months?
3 months. And what did you do to prepare you to come home?
Mostly, I'll say they had us working on was our coping skills.
Okay.
And I think that played a major part in life today. Because it got times where you want to relapse, but then if you have these skills, these coping skills, maybe you can do this or do that. She made me realize how Dr. Renee, how good my poetry is. And at first I was just writing and nothing really too serious. Now I'm the obituary writer for the family of anyone who passes away. I write the poetry.
You got a poem for us? I hate to put you on the spot. You hear it right now. I'll let you think about it. If you want to end with one, I'll let you.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay,
so.
let's think about it for a moment. Okay. We know you went to, you came back to the city first when you came back home for a minute. How did you get back to I'm Free?
They was actually supposed to pick me up, but I told them no. When you complete I'm Free, when you come home, they already got the whole date when you're supposed to go home, even if you go to Gardizia. They give you a welcome home bag, and they give you a ride. Clothes, shoes, jacket, or anything you'll need, some like the little gift cards, might be $150, might be $50, but something to start you off to be able to get you some things, a couple things. Not too long ago, we started working with Sankofa Healing Studio, and I thought it was a plus because who doesn't like therapy? And we were doing all types of therapy. Okay. Music, yoga, art. It was just so decent to be able to experience, it was like a therapist session, then it's like, all right, now relax your body. Type thing. Then we went to a job fair that they had at the Wells Fargo Center. We set up with Sankofa Healing Studio. People got to experience the whole, yoga thing. It was, Nyla playing with the things. So it was fun experiencing with that. They definitely do keep intact with you. If I needed some diapers today or tomorrow, they will send them. Okay. Anything, food, whatever.
And that's I'm Free, not Sankofa.
That's I'm Free.
Okay. And Sankofa was the therapeutic arm. And then I'm Free does the social service.
Yeah.
Okay. And the relationships that you built within those organizations, tell me about those.
Miss Jackie is awesome. She's head to Sankofa Healing Studio. Mm-hmm. She's awesome. And, some people who are, therapists like to read from the books or go about how they learned from the books. Miss Jackie gonna tell you, I'm straight up from the streets. I experienced this. I experienced that. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. I'm gonna be that person that, she really can understand it, and she means that. Like, when you be like, oh, well, I was out here doing this, dealing with that guy. She's like, okay, and I was too, or I know someone who has, and this is how we got through it. So now how do you want to get through it? Right. So I'm like, all right, I like her. She on point. She all for helping you, and she's gonna make you be on it. She's like on it. How you feeling today? Did you read your books? How you say you want to do, or anything that you felt like that was coping therapeutic for you?
Okay. So since having that experience with I'm Free and Sankofa, how likely are you to enter into a relationship with a man as you had in the past?
Oh, never. Now I take stuff slow. We daily process thing. Ain't for you, but now I gotta get to know you. I gotta get to know you now because you can be a whole different person 2 months from now.
Okay. And what did you learn about yourself?
I got more strengths than I thought I ever had. Tough skin. I'm intelligent, and I'm definitely, I can say, like, learning, like, being through with Sankofa and I'm Free. I really am a genuine person. Like, I really have a good heart. It's just that I was so angry at what I was going through that you never really got to see that side unless you was there with me, slept on the couch with me, or been through my traumas with me.
So, what does the future hold for Najah? Where do you see yourself? Where do you see your journey taking you?
Me owning my property. I'm supposed to start my training for MFA so I can be working with mental health adults. I want to continue this on with building with women and making sure they don't touch back out to a safe that's, a place that's not a safe place. Yeah, so that's pretty much for me, getting my goals together for, training in the house. I want Nyla to experience a way different experience than I experienced. I want her to be happy, come from a family that tells her she's beautiful every morning, love. She has warm jackets on, she has a hat, she has the gloves, everything. So.
And you feel like now you're in a position to give her that?
Definitely.
Did you have a question?
I have just a couple of questions. For family and friends who are embracing those who are coming out, what are some things that they need to know to be prepared for to help the transition be as smooth as possible? Because it's not going to be smooth.
It's definitely not going to be easy. You're going to have your days where you want to give up. But if you really think about how far you came, just the thought and the initiative step to even sign up to a program, attending anything, that's a start right there. So once you start, don't stop. Keep it going because it's going to be more and better once you keep going.
So, we ready for that poem?
We ready.
All right. And we'll close it out with that.
Okay. Yes.
A sister, an aunt, and cousin. A friend, we are all going to miss our dear Helen. Her spirit was so sweet you can call Helen and she will help even if she's weak. She loved her family and friends. Most of all, she loved running errands. Now she has the most prettiest wings we all want to see. The beauty in afterlife where there isn't a worry in sight. When you're down and miss her the most, cherish the memories. It will always bring your spirit close. God has her in his keeping. We have her in our heart where the love will always be kept and never to fall apart. Our sister, our aunt, our cousin, our friend, Helen.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Najah. This was beautiful. Thank you so much. All right. And that's a wrap.
And that is a wrap.
That is a wrap. She's like, yeah. It's a wrap.
I'm starting a new life.
Thank you for those who are listening to the Being Beloved podcast, a podcast exclusively on Arc Republic that is committed to telling the narratives of formerly incarcerated women who are experiencing or going through reintegrating back into their communities and their respective homes. As well, we want to thank the Valentine Foundation for providing a grant for us to carry out this very special series. The Valentine Foundation is a Philadelphia-based organization committed to empowering women and girls. And as well, we must send a shout out to our sister organization, Love Now Media. Love Now Media is a company that is committed to an equitable future by amplifying acts of love, I love this, at the intersection of social justice, wellness, and equity. Lastly, and certainly not least, We would like to give gratitude to those who are listening, who are coming home, who are reestablishing themselves and going through reintegration. We want to let you know we are with you, we support you, we see you, and keep going even in the roughest days. Oh, and we did not forget those who are inside and are doing their time and those who are about to be released. We all love you. We all support you, and we hope that you grow and evolve with this Being Beloved podcast. And remember to keep being beloved, beloveds.
I'm starting a new life, turn wrongs into right. This is the Being Beloved podcast.